So it's there again. It's that two-edged sword. I would say if there was something that was going to help businesses in Prattville, and it was going to help mine too, but it helped them all the way across the board, I'm voting for it.
Well, I certainly understand that.
But if it was a law that just benefited my business, I wouldn't touch it with the 10-foot pole.
Right. That was my question, was if it's directly related to your business,
then you don't need to be near it. You need to recuse yourself and don't even talk about it. But if it helps all businesses, you need to do it.
Okay. And I can certainly understand where you're coming from on that. I guess one of the biggest things that a lot of people are concerned about today is the runaway spending in this country. And I know you said Alabama's done a really good job of controlling, they're going to be turning around faster than a lot of other states or most of the other states out there. Do you see, say, for example, Alabama brings in $1 billion. Do you feel like Alabama has to spend that $1 billion?
No. They need to put some of it in reserves, just for hard times like we've gone through now.
What do you think about some of this runaway spending that's going on out there?
It's just ridiculous. It's got out of hand. It's absolutely got out of hand. But the state, our state, there again is trying its best to set up as a business-friendly state. So we're having to redo a lot of roads. We're having to widen all the interstates you got to have the base so they can come here. So some of the spending that Alabama's doing now, I look as an investment. We're investing in our future to get more companies down here to bring better paying jobs for our citizens. I don't mind that kind of spending. But when you start putting $10,000 for the pork festival down in Elba, well then I've got a problem with that. If they want a pork festival, let them pay for it themselves. I don't want to pay for it. Right.
And I think that's, where I come from on the federal level, for example, is why should I pay for something in Virginia that's being built in California?
Exactly.
That's kind of where I come from on that level. But
California's made their bed. Let them lie in it. There again, if we could keep our own money and just give to the federal government what they need to survive the military on, and then we handle the roads, we handle everything else because the states can handle it. The states can very well handle the road systems. They can handle the interstates. They can handle educating the children. We can handle everything except for our military. We need a strong military. That's the one thing the government can do better than a state.
Okay. Well, we've come to the end of the 30 minutes now. I mean, if you want to stick around for a few more minutes, we can certainly be more than happy to continue to do this if you've got the time.
I'm just sitting here with my feet propped up on my desk.
Okay.
With you guys.
You're not showing me the bottom of your feet, are you?
Yeah, actually I am. I have my socks on. I took my shoes off.
I guess one of the questions I have, and this is going to be important for pretty much any of the southern states especially, how's the immigration situation in Alabama?
It's not that bad here.
Okay.
The recession's done a good job of cleaning that up.
Okay.
5 years ago, the immigrants were everywhere. Today, you don't hardly see any of them because there's no jobs out there. So that's one. That was one. There's a silver lining to everything. Silver lining to the recession is it cleaned up a lot of people that shouldn't be in business and ran a lot of people out of the country that shouldn't have been here in the first place. Now we need to put up a fence.
Once the economy starts coming back and once you start seeing the illegal immigrants coming back in, do you have a solution, or do you believe in? Does the state have any responsibility in that, or is that all federal government?
No, the state needs to grab the bull by the horns to take care of it. If the states would take care of the situation, the federal government's just not. They've proven that. They're not going to take care of it. They can talk all they want to. The states have the manpower. The local government have the manpower. Those are the two that need to take care of it, or the local governments and the state.
You saw I'm sure the case not too long ago where they overturned, I believe it was a town in Texas trying to put I think it was a $5 licensing tax on the right to live in a particular home. They actually had to register and prove their legal status in order to be able to rent to people. They had the people who they were renting to, but the judge overturned that. Do you believe that something like that is an appropriate measure, or do you believe that the judge
I think that would actually work pretty well. I didn't hear about that one, but that would be pretty brilliant.
Yeah, they actually put a $5 fee on on licensing for renting, but everybody had the folks had to prove their legitimacy in this country.
Yes. The
Yeah.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty daggum smart to do it that way. I think that would work.
So there you go.
Yeah, that'd be a real easy, cheap way of handling it.
Well, let me ask you a question. One of the things that we've touted on here is, and I think would really help this country out a lot as far as a national level, and I'm going to ask any state candidate the same thing, because I think the states could probably do the same thing. And you and I have already touched on it a little bit as far as you were talking about putting some of the money in reserve. Would you support a freeze in spending?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. If the state's that bad off, now there again, Alabama hadn't got there yet, so it's going to be a little bit different for our state. So long we're paying our bills, and we're not having to borrow money from the feds, keep doing business as normal. But if it gets where we need to go to the federal government to borrow money, you got to live within your means.
Okay.
That's the simplest thing. You live within your means. We have to do it as each individual lives within their means. Why can't our government?
Okay, going back to the $1 billion, the theoretical $1 billion that we were talking about, if you feel like you're scraping the ceiling, so to speak, and that there's some potential danger there, when you take a look at maybe doing a spending freeze to protect yourself from going through that ceiling, would you also then support maybe doing some cuts across the board, just say a 1 or 2% cut across the board for a few years to try to back that ceiling back down again so that you could build up that reserve that you were talking about?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's there again, the business-minded person. If you get businessmen in here, they're going to do that because they are very, very worried about paying their bills on time and keeping their credit high so you can maintain your business. So
right.
Even with our business, once we saw the recession hitting, we immediately started cutting back everything. We were cutting back our advertising dollars. We were cutting back any employees we didn't need. We had to get rid of our backroom manager because he just didn't make us money. So he had to go. We don't buy displays. We just quit wasting any money. During the recession, to survive things, the states have to do the same thing. You can't stick your head in the sand and act like it's business as normal, because it's not.
Okay. Well, I guess in tying in with that, are you familiar with the zero baseline budgeting theory out there?
Yes. I tried to get our city to do that. And you think I was Satan himself for bringing that up?
Well, maybe you can explain it to your voters out there and see what they think.
Okay, a zero-line base budget means you go in. What most governments do, they'll look at their last year budget, they add 10% to it across the board, and that's what they're going to spend the money on this time. A zero base is basically nobody has a dime. If they want to buy a pencil, they got to come in and ask the council to buy that pencil. Well, all the council members are like, well, that's going to be too much work on us. I'm like, well, that's what we were hired for. If we go to a zero-line base budget, even if you just do it 1 year, it would restructure your whole budget, and you could save millions of dollars because you would look at every penny spent for that year and know exactly what you do. If you could do it for 5 years, by the end of the 5 years, you'd have so much money in the bank, you could actually start dropping your sales tax. But they didn't want no part of that because it was too much work. And that's the reason most municipalities in most states won't do it, because it's too much work. It's going to require a lot of work from their elected politicians, and they just don't want to work. I'm more of a worker. The people that know me know that. I like getting up early and going to bed late.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan